Hey there, future teacher, and welcome to our Praxis 5017 workbook lesson. This video lesson is proudly presented by teacherpreps.com. My name is Elliot. I'm a credentialed elementary teacher, and I'm here to make passing simple for you. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about curriculum, instruction, and assessment, the three core competencies that you'll need to know regarding the art, music, and physical education part for this exam. We're going to be going through 4 different content categories, including curriculum and planning, purpose and value of art, music, and physical education in the elementary education curriculum, as well as instructional methods that you should know, and then the assessment strategies, again, that you need to know for test day. If you are the type of learner like myself who appreciates audio, visual, and just different modalities of learning, make sure that you download this PDF file. This is a printable file. You can also do what I'm doing and transfer it onto your tablet device so you can just write right on top of it. I'll be going through the entire thing step by step with no steps skipped so that you can increase your active recall for test day. All right, so part 1 is all about curriculum, planning, and sequencing. Here we go. Effective curriculum design in art, music, and PE relies on this really important word for your exam, and that's scaffolding. Remember that scaffolding is breaking down the skills from simple to complex. Now, what we're asked to do is to complete the chart below by identifying the phases of learning. So what I'm going to do is I will read the 3 phases and then we'll identify the correct term. But what I would suggest for you to do is to pause the video here and actually read it to yourself and then see if you can go ahead and complete it. All right, and then come back when you are ready for the solution. Here's the first one. Manipulating materials, stationary skills, non-locomotor movements, the student is just discovering the medium or movement. So remember, if you watched my presentation for the Praxis 5017 exam, again, that art, music, and PE study guide, then you will remember there was a slide that included the 3 phases. In that slide, I presented them horizontally from left to right, but here we have them top to bottom. So the first phase is to help our students explore. And as I mentioned in the first video, we oftentimes will present a hook that will oftentimes be an interesting fact or a question to get our young students thinking about the skill that we're going to be teaching them. So in this part, we'll put exploration. Here we go. Now, exploration could be called that on your exam, but it also could be called discovery. So just be aware of that when taking your test. All right, the second phase, here we go. Using tools with intent, locomotor movements, combining rhythm with melody. The student begins to control the medium. Can you recall what the second phase is? That is checking for students' proficiency after exploration. So I'm going to write skill development. And skill dev for short. Okay, the third phase that you'll be likely seeing on test day is creating specific art styles, game strategy, ensemble performances. The student uses the skill in a complex setting. So after they show their proficiency, the third phase here is what we call application. And I'll put app for short, but it's application. All right, now here we have a practice test question. Again, pause the video, read it yourself, take a look at the 4 answer options, pick the one that you think is best, and then come back when you're ready for the solution. I'll begin to read it now. A first grade general music class is struggling to play a simple melody on the recorder. Following developmentally appropriate sequencing, which strategy should the teacher implement first? Is it A, have students clap the rhythm of the song without the instrument? Is it to increase the daily practice time allotted for the specific song? Is it to demonstrate the song again and ask students to copy the movements? Or is it to provide a visual guide showing correct finger placement for notes? All right, the most appropriate response here would be option A, to have the students clap the rhythm without the instrument. Now, in music education, pedagogy, instruction moves from sound to symbol. And again, we're going first from simple and later to complex. All right, moving on to the whole child domains. This is part 2. Now, the Praxis 5017 exam will test your knowledge of how art, music, and PE contribute to a holistic development. And what we're asked to do here is identify the domains based on the descriptions below. So as you can see, there are 3 boxes, and let's take a look at each and complete the blanks. So the box in the red, this reads developing coordination, motor skills, and technique. So this is the psychomotor. I'll write that in the blank. All right, and then in green, right here in the middle, the description reads learning history, rules, strategy, notation, and critical analysis. And that, as we saw from the study guide, is the cognitive domain. And then third, in this yellow-orange color, this reads building self-esteem, teamwork, sportsmanship, and appreciation. And that is the affective domain. All right, nice. Let's keep this going. We have another practice test question here, and this one reads, a teacher creates a lesson plan where students analyze masks from different cultures and then create their own. Which of the following best describes the primary educational value of this activity beyond artistic skill? Again, pause the video if you haven't already and see if you can identify the correct solution. A reads, it allows students to develop fine motor cutting skills. B, it fosters cultural perspective and historical empathy. C, it keeps students occupied while learning about geography. And D, it provides a decorative product for the classroom walls. All right, now the correct response is that it fosters cultural perspective, and so I'm going to go here with option B. This question addresses the connection standard common in arts education. All right, moving on to our third section, all about instruction. Let's talk about the methods and techniques you'll want to be aware of for your exam. If you can recall from the study guide video that I created, I mentioned the difference between elements and principles, and that's what we're going to go over now. What we're asked to do is distinguish between the tools, like elements, and the rules, like principles. And so what you want to do now is pause the video, use your critical thinking skills to list all of the elements as I added in the previous video, which I can recall as, or it helps me to remember as the ingredients, and then the principles like the recipe. So we can remember that in the arts, we have elements, and those include line, shape, color, which I added here to get us started. And then after that, we also have texture, we have value, we have space, and form. All right, now in the principles section, we start off with balance, contrast, pattern, and then we also have, for example, emphasis, rhythm, unity, and movement.